Hi everybody, Bill here again. Today I want to talk to you about who lives in a tiny house. I mean, you see all these videos online of people doing it, but who actually lives in a tiny house? When Elizabeth and I were first thinking about doing this, we started watching YouTube videos to see what other people were doing, to get ideas for how to maximize a minimal amount of space saving ideas, those sorts of things. But what we discovered was that for the most part, everybody online on YouTube that was living in tiny houses were all young. They were all 20-something or maybe up to age 30. And you know, when you think about it, that makes a lot of sense, because young people like that are more agreeable to new things. They're more adventurous. Most of the time they don't have kids, and if they do, they're usually infants or young toddlers, and that works better in a small space. Living in a tiny house is possible. If you've got a larger one, like say 400 square feet, it can certainly be done. Young people have less encumbrances in life. They have less stuff. Not that I want to minimize what they have to go through to get rid of the stuff they have to fit into a tiny house. But they don't have 40 or 50 years of accumulated stuff like we do. From a lifetime of memories in large houses where we have accumulated all of this stuff. But for those of you who are doing YouTube videos, you know that on the back side of the YouTube channel there's a whole section where you can see demographics of people who are watching your videos and how many people and that sort of thing. I was looking at the demographic page of my channel, and I discovered something very interesting. It shows me that 32% of the people who are viewing my tiny house videos are aged 55 to 64. And then the next largest group at 25% is ages 45 to 54. And then those over 65 are 7.5% of my viewers. Sorry about that, my clock. But what that means is that fully 64.5% of my viewers on my tiny house videos are over age 45. Now that doesn't seem to jive with watching the videos of young people doing it. And what that tells me is that people my age, you know, my wife and I are just a couple years away from 60. People my age, our age, are very intrigued by the whole concept of the tiny house. Most of you are tied down by the complexities of life, and many of you are burdened by debt. You know, if you have, like most of America, bought into the lie that says that you can live a better lifestyle using debt. Well, you can for a little while, but eventually you're going to have to pay the piper. Eventually you're going to have to pay all that debt off. And so many people my age find that they are in debt to the point where they don't see any way to retire. You know, if you have remortgaged your house once or twice to consolidate credit cards and all the other debt into that one payment, then you may find that you're not going to have your house paid off until you're 70 or 75 or even 80, and you don't see any way that you can retire because you got to keep making those mortgage payments. And you know, it can really be difficult because we're set in our ways. But you know, getting rid of those mortgage payments and freeing yourself up to actually be able to retire is very doable, and it's in many cases necessary, but it's very freeing. This is what my wife and I did. We went through a process of several years actually of preparing for this, of sorting through all of our stuff, which was a difficult job. I'll just be honest, it was a difficult thing to do, and we're still actually working on it. Even though we've been in it 6 months, we're still trying to get rid of stuff. But it's very possible, and it's absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth it. So I really want to encourage you, especially if you're middle-aged or older like my wife and I really want to encourage you, if you're thinking about it, to seriously consider it. If you're living in a 2,800 square foot house, it's worth $300,000 or $350,000, and you've got $100,000 in equity in it. Then if you sell that thing, you can take that $100,000, and that'll give you enough cash to get into a tiny house, or maybe even into just a smaller house. It doesn't have to be a tiny house. An 800 square foot 2-bedroom ranch would do you just fine if all the kids were out of the house, you know. And you can get into that cash, and you can get rid of that debt, you can get rid of that headache, you can set yourself up for retirement. Or if you want to go a little bit more radical like we have and move into a tiny house, move into an RV, it's very doable. So I really want to encourage you, if you're thinking about it, believe that it really can happen. We've done it, and we love it. We absolutely love it. So I want to thank you for listening. I hope I've given you some encouragement. If you're thinking along those lines, don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, live simple, live free. Thank you.